Hello, it's the 14th of May and this is Renew Every Morning. I'm Paul Anderson-Walsh and I'm just delighted that you've chosen to be with me again. So thank you so much for stopping by. Well, you'll know if you've been following this series, we're thinking about wisdom and guidance this month. That's our theme. So all the verses we're taking are really driving at that one idea. And today we have a lovely verse. It's Psalm 32 and verse 8. Let me remind you what the verse says. It's a lovely verse. I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. I will counsel you with my loving eye on you. So our renew today is I'm calling the look of love. Now, there's nothing passive about this life we've been given, by the way. It's a very active life and it's a very exciting life once we can begin to participate fully in it. Once we understand that we're possessors of life, then we move from just professing Christianity to possessing it, and it's a very exciting idea. And when we learn to live with understanding and when we learn to live with compassion, we become open to the very gentle promptings of God. And this is really what I'm interested in. Because listen, when you read this verse again, just listen carefully to it. When we read, I will instruct you, let me be clear about something. God's not saying to you, I'm going to tell you what to do. That's not the way the Spirit works. This isn't training. This is transmission. This is something very, very different. I say to my clients in the corporate world all the time, we don't do training. I say this every time we're meeting with a new client. We're not a training company. We're a facilitation business. And what we do is we help you learn to listen. We help you learn to listen with openness and non-discrimination. And when you can learn to do that, then you hear some really quite magical things. And again, this is the idea. Can we come to the Lord? Can we come to Scripture? Can we come to anything with openness and non-discrimination? Because if we can, then be prepared for some surprises. And that's the kind of instruction that's offered in this verse, I think. The Hebrew word is astlikaha, and the idea here is it's to make you wise. So think about that. The whole purpose is to make you wise, or to put it another way, to help you act with insight and inner clarity. That's the thing. So you're not stumbling, so you're not in the fog. You have insight and you move with clarity. Now remember, when you pick up the Bible, please remember this. The Bible is not a manual. We must stop saying that. If you want to do it lyrically, it's Emmanuel, not a manual. And the point is, the Bible isn't a how-to book. The Bible doesn't tell you how to live your life. The Bible tells you this is who your life is. It shows you who your life is, not how to live your life. It's very different. And so here when Scripture says, and I will teach you, this word here is orka. And the idea here is literally, I'll guide you. And I think that's a nice idea. I was thinking about how would I explain this to you? When we were instructing the children when they were little to learn to ride bikes, I can remember just literally guiding them. You might just have your hand just above their back, and they've got their little stabilizers and they're running along like fury, but you're just there to guide and just to keep them on track. But you're not riding the bike for them. That's not what you're doing. You're in the place of guiding, and this is a really important aid. So it's a bit like maybe for an archer, perhaps you might draw a bow like this, and the guide is just helping you just to get the aim right so it's coming through properly. Providing a kind of steady hand, if you like, shaping the direction. And again, always, 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 always in the Spirit. You get direction, but you're left to figure out the directions. If you need directions, then come and ask for them. But part of the joy, part of the adventure is exactly that. But it's this sense about this notion of saying that this is guided with care, if you like. This is to be aimed with love, if you want to put it that way around. In what? In the way that you should go. Now, again, be careful with this, because these two words are about the path, if you like, and the walk, the step-by-step walk. But be very careful here, because God doesn't should on you. That's what religious people do. No, God doesn't do that. This is about the shape of your soul, if you like, unfolding in time as you begin to just walk things out and understand things. And in the Pilgrim's Progress, Bunyan called it the narrow road lit by grace but walked with faith. And that's a really lovely way of saying it. That this kind of the way in which you and I are kind of are shown, if you like, the way you should go is we are guided, if you will, again, let me listen to Bunyan, to this narrow road lit by grace but walked by faith. I think that's a really nice idea. And he says, I will counsel you. Oh, goodness gracious me, in this culture in which we live in now, please note that he doesn't say, I will counsel you. There is no counsel culture in God. I will counsel you. And here the idea is I'll come alongside and I'll guide, I'll be there for you. This is about just transmission of relational wisdom. And it's just such a lovely idea. The Jewish mystics, when they thought about this, they talk about the true path that they would say was an inward path toward the soul, toward the divine spark that they would call it, that was within you. And I think that's a really, really nice idea, being guided like that. But the scripture says, but I'll guide you with my loving eye. I love that. My eye is upon you. And why wouldn't it be? As the old gospel song says, his eye is on the sparrow, and I know he must watch over me. That must be right. So it's more than that. It's as Burt Bacharach said in that lovely song, this is the look of love. And that look of love is saying much more than words can say. Do you remember that in the song? So this is not a gaze from some sort of, afar from some sort of guard tower somewhere. And no, that's not what this is. This is about the gaze of love. This is what this is really about. And remember in 1 Corinthians 10, Paul reminds us that we drank from the rock. Do you remember we drank from the spiritual rock? And then there's that very strange thing he says in Corinthians. He says, and that rock followed them. That just blows my mind. The idea of this, if you take it literally, this rock that's a million gallons of water just floods out of in one moment, but now is following them through the wilderness. It's just quite extraordinary. I mean, I don't know how to work that out. But what Paul says, no, look, the rock was Christ. And you go, I see. But notice, rather like I told you, with the child, guiding the child, when the child's learning to ride the bike, the rock follows them and the eye watch them, not to correct them, never that, but always just to care. Now, across all the traditions of the mystics, this verse isn't about instruction in the academic sense. It's about communion. Julian of Norwich captures it beautifully. Divine teaching, says Julian, comes not by reasoning, but by spiritual sight. John of the Cross said, God leads the soul in a path it does not know to bring it to a place it doesn't know. From the unknowing to the unknown. I mean, how glorious is that? His eye is there not as a surveillance camera, but it's about giving attention to us and helping us and in our walk. It's not forced, it's followed, and that's the kind of notion that we need to think about. A leader is best when people barely know he exists. When his work is done, they'll say, we did it ourselves. And that's the way it is with the Spirit. We come away from the end of our pilgrimage and say, look at that, we did it ourselves. But all along, there was this lovely guiding hand. Guidance with a very light touch is a gaze that gives us space. It's a presence that doesn't push, but just lets you go. So our summary then, as we finish this renew today, is simply to say this. This isn't about anything systemic. It's about something relational. God doesn't bark instructions at you. He walks beside you. He instructs you with insight. He teaches with patience. He counsels with care. And he watches over you with a gaze that says, I see you. I'm with you. I'm in you. Keep walking. So that's our renew for today, and I hope it encouraged you, and I hope it encourages you just to keep going on and let yourself be led, not by control, but by communion. May you be renewed today. Have a great day. Bye-bye.